So, today's video, I want to introduce you guys to a concept of Barry Windsor Smith being a Jack Kirby clone. What am I talking about? And here we go. I'm just going to show it to you guys. Marvel Comics, Barry Windsor Smith. I'm missing all of these outside of issue 72. That's like the part 1. Even though 73 says it's chapter 1 of Weapon X. But you guys know Barry Windsor Smith. Here's one of the covers. Barry Windsor Smith. I want to say, like, there's bad business, there's bad perspective when it comes to BWS. Because just recently, I was talking to a couple comic kids, a couple of people I work with. They got into the channel and they were like, wow. Like, they work with me every single day. And they were like, we had no idea you were this much of a comic dork. And I'm like, yeah. But we're talking, and yeah, Barry Windsor Smith comes up because, like, the Weapon X Deluxe and that Monster book kind of went viral, and it was on their radar, and they were asking me, like, how I feel about him. And I called him a Jack Kirby clone. And they were like, and it's like, I kind of had to, like, catch them up on that thought. So there we go. That's the video idea of today. BWS, Barry Windsor Smith, Jack Kirby clone, and it didn't go well because he got his butt kicked by Gene Colan. And what is this? What am I talking about? We're talking about Daredevil. So let's go. There it is, AKAPADers. What a beautiful Barry Windsor Smith stack. This is all the work I own of BWS. And to be clear, those individuals that I work with, they're not on the IT side, because you would think, like IT people kind of know everyone's social media. They don't, by the way. But no, this is, I love videos like this because I just get to explain something, and it happens in the real world. I talked to someone about this work right here, that really, it was always great. And the idea of this, like, catching on, right? Because it just died off for a while. Like, people don't want to kind of admit that Barry Windsor Smith's Weapon X really came into being during reprints. Because Marvel explains the origin, right? They do the Paul Jenkins, the Kubert, the Richard Asimov Wolverine origins, and they kill this. They kill the effect of this. Like, Joe Quesada took away the mystery and the power of Weapon X. And you really want to say, like, what resonates? Like, does this resonate right here? Is that John Byrne? I don't know. I think that's John Byrne. That has to be John Byrne. But Origin doesn't. But Joe Quesada had a publishing agenda. Right? Like, here. Like, people, like, this is where, again, re-comics, you get cursed. Because when you see this, how many covers of the reprints has this? And we're in chapter 9. So we're 9 months into this. And this becomes the image of the entire storyline. But you tell people, like, that's not a cover, and they'll be like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. That is a cover. So this guy here, he starts here, right? He starts in mainstream. He draws Conan the Barbarian. When I became aware of BWS, it was during Valiant Comics. It was Solar, the Main of the Atom. I don't have any of those issues, by the way. We got 284, and through Valiant, right, he became Malibu. So he co-created Rune here, And Rune got into Saturday morning cartoons. Rune got action figures. And Rune was an integral part in when Marvel buys Malibu Comics. They legit, all the lore of the Infinity Gauntlet Stones came through this merger, came through Marvel Comics merging with Malibu. And they bought the Ultraverse, they bought everything connected to Malibu. And Marvel really tried. They did this event called Black September. But yeah, this is Barry's character here. Say, Rune issue 0. And at this time, like his coloring, he could just create this mood in the comic. And he was experimenting with multiple formats, right? He does these giant BWS storyteller, treasury size books. The comic book artist never lets go of the treasury size edition. They just want a big format comic. But like we see like real stuff here. And people want to pretend this is confusing. It's not. But we get real, like a real character here. Like, look at some of this. So, where does this guy start? Well, here we go. Do I need to make a note that if you don't spend your time and your money on these, on the Marvel Essentials, you're just doing yourself a disservice. If you're spending your money on an Omnibuy and not these, and you're saying, well, not all the Omnibuy are Marvel Essential and vice versa. Well, it doesn't matter. Start here. For example, there's a Dazzler Omnibus coming out that I don't know why anyone would purchase. Just go and buy the Dazzler Essential Editions because it's valuable when you have the black and white artwork. Let me get this out of here. I want to say this. A little bit of an unpopular opinion here. We're looking at Gene Colan here. Gene Colan is one of the all-time greats. One of the best action guys in American comic book history. The dude's an absolute weapon. Let me just go here. Just, skip a little bit. Like, look at some of this. Where's that Froggy at? Oh, that Froggy face was too good. See, so we look at, that's not Froggy though, but when we look at panels like this, right? And people want to say that Frank Miller changed Daredevil in this one direction, in the pulpy crime direction. If we look at the Gene Colan artwork alone as a black and white, we see the skeleton of that. We see the original DNA of Daredevil. And you guys maybe can see just me flipping through this, right? Daredevil is dark, moody, and gritty. What Frank Miller did was he introduced Christ. He introduced the church. Then he solidified that into Daredevil's mythos with some tragedy, with the death of Elektra. That's Frank Miller's contribution. The gritty pulpiness was already there. So let's get into BWS. So during all of this fantastic Gene Colan artwork, right? You buy issue 50. Then you get into Barry Smith. So issue 49, right? 49. Gene Colan. Gene Colan needs to, maybe he gets sick. Maybe he needs to take a break. I don't know, maybe he hurts his wrist. But issue 50, if in Final Battle I fail, you get Barry Windsor Smith. We immediately see in 2 seconds, we see the Jack Kirby. We see the Jack, guys. Let's do it. We see the Jack Kirby knee bubble here. We see the Jack Kirby shadow line here. We see the Jack Kirby hand. BWS. Look, that's the Jack Kirby panel. But he comes in hot. So previously, right, we would know BWS as just through learning about comics. You kind of look at BWS as starting his career very much like Mark Silvestri as a John Buscema clone. But we see BWS as a John Buscema clone and also a Jack Kirby clone. There's not many artists can do that. And again, too, look at these Mike Royer pops, Mike Royer squiggles. The feathering here, like the feathering for the quad, not quite there. Look at the big Kirby hand here. Right, like Kirby paneling, Kirby sequence, like Kirby putting the hand in the panel. So he does issue 50. And you already see the book becoming more like superhero. It's a little bit more fantastic. And we have just really next Target Daredevil. Page 20. He only drew 20 pages. But we got Roy Thomas, we got St. Lee, we got Barry Smith. He gets another shot, 51. We're continuing. Look at the Kirby crackle. And this is a little bit of, you want to say the industry starts to fracture at this point. We get guys in the industry that love Jack Kirby and guys that don't, internally. Dude, look at the leaves, the leaf reflections on this car here. And look at him trying to do it on the windshield. Look at the panel here. See the panel? This is Kirby. Now, Jim Steranko also started as a Kirby clone. We will profile that, but you can see the Kirby in these mechanics here. The Kirby tech. Again, Kirby tech. Look at this. So a lot of times when we say Jack Kirby clone, we mean it all the way through. We mean that your action, your paneling, your storytelling, your tech, it's almost like the worldview of the artist becomes Jack Kirby's worldview. And right here too, like anatomy, let's butcher the anatomy, let's get a pose, let's try and pull in the audience. Again, the Kirby kneecaps, which are like two bubbles. And here we go. Next, Death Calls for DD, the Night of the Panther. And this is the one with BWS just drawing Jack Kirby's co-creation, the Black Panther, with some more feathering. So like the feathering for Panther here, a little bit nuanced, a little bit irregular, but we really see an idea that, so like it's almost like, what does the feathering mean on top of like the black swaps? And it's swaps, sorry. We want to say they're trying to make it reflective. But look at this. Like, see, we saw Jack Kirby do this with the Iron Man pose. I forget what issue of Iron Man that is. But we really see there's a little bit more of a reflection. So there's backlighting, there's lighting on the side, there's lighting from the front. But he's rimmed, or he's haloed. But we get a little bit, right, we're deviating from Kirby techniques. We got a lot more panels here, a lot less Kirby storytelling, but more, we get those Kirby poses. But we do see a drift by the time we get the third month into this experiment. And some of this could be, like, you want to say, like, what happens internally? Like, what is he doing? I think this is, like, people talking, him wanting to challenge himself. He got the assignment, and he says, like, how far can I push it? Look, up shots, always difficult. Up shots holding guns, even more difficult. It goes to show you, even the best. But see, like, here, where we see the Black Panther mask, like, stretched on the nose of Black Panther. And here, like Kirby hand. This isn't so much of a Kirby hand, but that's a Kirby foot. Again, Kirby lines, boom, boom. Inside leg, outer swoop of the leg. The anatomy is a little bit too curved. It's not quite there. It takes a while to learn to draw like Kirby. But this is pretty good, though. You want to say if you continue. And again, some of the paneling is, like, this is anti-Kirby paneling. These are a little bit more animatics, a little bit more of a storyboard. But then, boom, as it was in the beginning, we get right back to Gene Colan with issue 53. And within 2 seconds, you see, this is where we left off. Look, this is how we left off. Right? Like, we leave off with superhero action. I mean, we immediately get back to the street, the grittiness. And they're just retelling a little bit of the re-origin of Daredevil here. Isn't that wild? So Daredevil always was, I mean, look at these panels. Tell me Daredevil always wasn't street. He was. He was a Noir pulp character from the very, from the initial run. Not from the very beginning, but from the initial run. So guys, there it is. Barry Windsor Smith. Jack Kirby clone, the guy that we know from Weapon X. Everyone starts somewhere. BWS started emulating the Curbster.